Hello everyone, this is Arnold and I'm going to continue developing an MVC website from scratch using ASP.NET Core 1.1. Last time I added entity framework and identity. This time I'm going to also add something else, Bootstrap, before we finalize our login and registration system. Now Bootstrap will provide us with a CSS framework that will enable us to create nice looking websites without too much designing. So how do we do this? Now we used NuGet in previous version, but now we also have Bower as a package manager, specifically for things like Bootstrap. But let's see, how can we use it in our project? I'm not sure what this means. It has created a Bower RC file, but it has also this strange icon next to it. I'm going to remove this one. I suggest you do as well, unless you already have a bower.json file here. So I don't have one. I created all this from an empty project. I'm going to remove this reference and then add a new Bower configuration file. Add new item. And let's search for Bower. And we should be able to create a JSON file. I'm not sure why it's appending the one here. Let's get rid of that. Now Visual Studio will be checking for a file called bower.json and will be checking what we're doing in it. In this dependencies part, we can by hand specify the dependencies that we have. Now we could use the manage Bower packages screen, which looks pretty nice. I mean, you can browse stuff here and install Bootstrap, but let me show you something. Whatever. Under the dependencies, we can also add Bootstrap, and it has nice IntelliSense. And then we can specify the version. And the stable version is 337. And when I save this, it will actually download Bootstrap for us automatically. And the nice thing is Visual Studio has created a Bower RC file, which specifies the directory in which the files are downloaded, which is our wwwroot, and then lib. And as we can see, it has downloaded Bootstrap and jQuery, it's a dependency of Bootstrap, to these folders. So it downloaded everything, not just the files we need, but whatever, let's just work with it. So Bower works without a problem, great. Now to enable us to use Bootstrap, we will have to be able to serve static files to the client or to the browser. And strange as it may seem, we cannot do this in an empty web project in the default settings. We can only respond to requests via the controller. So we have to add a package to enable us to serve static files, such as the CSS and JavaScript files of Bootstrap. Let's manage NuGet packages. Now, again, I don't know the name off the top of my head, but let's just look for core static file. Oh, okay, it already tries to help us. There it is, Microsoft ASP.core static files. Let's install it. Now there has been an update to Visual Studio since the last video. And let's see if we still have to restart Visual Studio to add stuff that we just added using NuGet. I just installed the package and now I'm opening startup.cs, and then in the configure method we're not only going to use identity and use MVC with default route, but we're also going to use static files. So now the files in this folder will be accessible through the browser, which is what we need to get all this working. Okay, so if you had any kind of error with Bower, it is possible that you didn't have Git installed. If you install the web development tools, it won't always install Git with it. So if we open the Visual Studio installation program, hit modify, individual components, and Git is here. So please check if this is installed or not. If it isn't, then Bauer won't be able to download Bootstrap for you. Okay, so small remark there. So the next part will be to create our layout view, which is basically like a master page in web forms or a template, whatever you might call it. And we can create a folder here under views. Let's call it shared. And let's add our layout view in there. So new item. And let's look for layout. And there it is, MVC view layout page. Now again, it's appending the one, so be sure to remove it, add, and now it provides us with a sort of default, very empty HTML template. And well, it's kind of obvious, this is where the title goes and this is where the body of the page goes. So how can we turn this into something nice? Well, if we look at the Bootstrap website, it has some stuff for us. Let's see, under getting started, it also provides us a sort of basic template, but there are more, like modify these examples. So let's go there. So these are some nice examples. So which one shall we use? I'm going to use the starter template. So let's click there and then view the source in our browser. And we have a nice clean HTML page with some stuff, the navigation bar, some text. And we sort of have to make sure our page looks the same as this. So let's put them next to each other. So let's copy paste some stuff from here. So I'm going to get these ones. And then we also have to import these files. Now we can just create the links using Visual Studio. So what we need is Bootstrap, and there is a custom style for this template. So let's first get the Bootstrap. We can just go into the folder under dist CSS and drag in the Bootstrap min CSS, and it will create a link tag for us. Okay, so what's next? Now the starter template is not included with Bootstrap, but we can copy paste it. So let's create another folder. Let's call it CSS and add our own style sheet. New item, style sheet, and we'll just call it style sheet. And if I hit Ctrl on the keyboard and click here, it will open this. So it's not much, but we still need it. So let's copy and paste it here. And then go back to the source we were working in. Now we can also include that CSS file, but just dragging it here. And I see there's a small mistake, because this www.root is not actually part of the URL. So I have to remove it by hand. Make sure to do this. So now the links are correct. So what's more, I'm not going to copy paste all this other stuff, but I am going to get a navigation bar. Put it in the body and the container. Instead of this div, I'm going to use the container div around the body. And then below that, we can also put the links to the JavaScript we need. So how do we do this? Basically, it's just importing jQuery and then Bootstrap. So we have to do this in this order. Let's see, can we drag them? So first, let's find jQuery, dist, and then jQuery.min.js, and drag it in. And then Bootstrap, dist.js, and Bootstrap.min.js, and then change the links again. So basically we've adjusted our layout page to match the template, except for the small piece of content in the middle. We can add that to our page. So let's find the other view we created earlier. In the home folder, we have the index view, and this was the home page of our website. And let's paste the content here. But if we run our website now, we won't actually see much difference. So it still looks like no CSS is applied at all. And that's correct, because we haven't linked our layout view to the normal view. But we can do this by specifying layout is, and then the name of the layout view, which is _layout. So let's run it again. For some reason I closed it, I'm not sure why. And now it's actually using the template. Great. So we can use this, as you can see, to keep our pages clean and the layout in a separate view. So we can use this next time to create our registration and login pages. We won't do this in this video, so bye for now and thank you for watching.